and welcome to Self-Care Tips with me, Irene Jeroge. Now, having honor is something that sounds a bit old-fashioned or even quaint, but it's a very, very important quality that you can have, and it is unidentifiable. It's difficult to describe. When you're honored or when you have honor, in whatever way, whether big or small, it gives you that feel-good factor, knowing that people respect you and that people see you in a certain light that is God-given. Avoid unnecessary trouble. Are you one of those people who is always controversial? You always have to comment and make noise about everything? If so, tone down the way you behave. Stop being standoffish. Stop causing arguments for no reason. And this way, you'll find yourself suddenly being treated in a different manner. Other things are, and this is specifically for the ladies, these issues of being on social media all the time, and especially posing without clothes or very revealing clothes, you'll find that it actually removes your honor as a woman. And these things remain in social media for years. Even when you no longer want to appear like that, when you no longer want to be that kind of person, it is still there. And for a very, very long time, people will always dig it out of your history. Having honor means having the ability to keep your private life in check. Be very careful about what you tell people, because sometimes things may spread out and you may have no control over that. And these are things that could dishonor you completely. Keep your honor, be decent, and learn to know who to tell your stuff, and also keeping your private life private. And here is today's life hack. To become honored, or to be honorable, to be perceived as such, there's one big secret. Just simply stop talking about people. Unless it's positive, don't talk about people. And you'll find that you'll be trusted and you'll be considered an honorable member of the society. This has been Self-Care Tips. I am Irene Jeroge, speaking on how to have honor.
We will get money for Kenyans back.
David Mwaure Waihiga of the Agano Party.
Tuko tayari tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8.
William Samoei Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance.
Mko tayari kutembea na sisi?
Raila Amolo Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party. And
we have wealth in our country.
Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya of the Roots Party. On the battle for State House, the presidential debate 2022, July 26th, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. on every screen, speaker, and earpiece in Kenya.
Pata ulimi na mafikira kama sikiza tune kwenye simu yako, bonyeza *811 *815#.
Hey, my friend, ulimi ni kama msumari na mafikira ni kama nyundo. Hizo vitu mbili zikishikana, zinaweza jenga ama zinaweza bomoa. Haki na sita tafadhali. Hebu fikiria hiyo kitu nataka kuniambia kabla nishike hii simu. Kama unataka kunibomoa, toa hiyo simu kwa masikio. Unaona hiyo kitu ya red? Finya hiyo kitu ya red.
Kupata ulimi na mafikira, bonyeza *811 *815#. *811 *815#.
It is the 25th day of July 2022. From wherever you're watching us in Nairobi, Kenya, and around the world. Good evening. This is KBC Prime Edition. Tonight we have an end-to-end look at stories that made headlines. That includes the day's business. We'll also be looking at the day's sports. Remember, it's 14 days to the general election. Live in studio tonight, IEBC staff walking us through a simulation exercise. You don't want to miss that. Good evening. My name is Mboya. Top in this live broadcast. Bridge of death. 34 people confirmed dead, 11 others injured in River Nithi Bridge bus accident. Let's be custodians of our history. President Kenyatta urges Kenyans during Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum's Media Open Day. And it's campaigns and more campaigns as Azimio One Kenya Coalition and Kenya Kwanza Alliance principals and allies traverse country. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Susan Thuku is in charge of our sign language docket. Our socials are at KBC Channel 1. My Twitter handle at Tomboy24. Hashtag Prime Edition. We begin with that story that we have our pulse on. The death toll from Sunday's tragic accident in Tharaka Nithi County involving a modern coast bus has risen sadly to 34 after more bodies were recovered from the River Nithi. Tharaka Nithi County Commissioner Norbert Komora confirming that 11 people had survived, but he's expressing fears tonight that the number of fatalities could go up. The National Transport and Safety Authority has suspended the license of the bus company until investigations are complete. We open our coverage with the very latest from that sad incident.
The Mombasa-bound modern coast bus plunged into River Nithi along the Meru-Nairobi highway at around 6:30 p.m. on Sunday evening. The bus, which was ferrying passengers from Meru, hit another vehicle and fell off Nithi Bridge. 11 passengers who survived the accident are receiving treatment at Chuka General Hospital and PCEH Ogoria Mission Hospital.
Looking at the monitors.
Following the tragedy, the National Transport and Safety Authority (NTSA) suspended the license of the bus company until investigations into the incident are complete. NTSA has also embarked on evaluation of the operator's safety and operational standards to ascertain the roadworthiness of the ill-fated bus and other buses belonging to the company. This is as the family of the bus driver who perished call on the relevant agencies to speed up investigations, saying the deceased had raised concerns about the vehicle.
Wanangu kama wiki mbili hivi wiki tatu alikuwa analia, hiyo gari anaendesha ni mbovu. Akifika tu ananiambia mama masi gari ni mbovu, mama masi gari ni mbovu. Akifika tu hata harali anaondoka anaenda garage na hiyo gari. Anasema gari breki na feri mpaka sasa kufa kwake sasa. TSA wapate kufuatilizia hii kampuni sababu ikiwa ni wiki mbili na mtu analia breki ndio gari. Sasa ningeomba tu wafuatilizia sababu itaua watu wengi sana.
A section of workers at the Modern Coast Express have also decried the poor state of some of the vehicles.
Hii maneno matatizo inatokea sababu hatupewi kama wafanyikazi huduma vile inatakikana. Tulipwi.
Tulikuwa tunadai sana mshahara. Sasa venye wamefunga hivi kampuni tunahofia sana mambo ya pesa zetu zitapotea. Miezi minne madereva wanadai pia, kwa watu wengi tunadai sana mshahara.
Meanwhile, cancellation of the operation license by NTSA has also led to many passengers who had booked seats to travel up country on Monday being stranded in Mombasa County.
Mimi nilikuwa nimebook gari naenda Mumias, sehemu za Mumias. Hata sikuwa najua gari haziendi. Kufika hapa hata nimechanganyikiwa, sijui hata nifanye nini.
Several fatal accidents have occurred at the Nithi Bridge, which is about 10 kilometers from Chuka town, leading to an appeal by the public to change its location. Michael Mondiga for Prime Edition, Mombasa County.
Condolences from the KBC fraternity to the bereaved, and our prayers are with those who still remain in critical condition, and we hope them quick recovery. Moving on, President Uhuru Kenyatta has commended the National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya for improving the lives of persons with disability. President Kenyatta says that the fund, through its board of trustees, has worked tirelessly to ensure that the needs of persons with disability are catered for both in government and also at the society at large.
Of the National Fund for the Disabled of Kenya, led by their chairperson Christina Pratt, paid a courtesy call to President Uhuru Kenyatta Monday at State House, Nairobi. The head of state, who is also the patron of the fund, hailed the efforts of the members in advocating for the rights and welfare of persons with disabilities. The president cited the mainstreaming of the needs of persons with disabilities in the country's education policy as one of the achievements of the fund. The Board of Trustees chairperson pointed out that the fund has, among other achievements, increased its annual donation to persons with disabilities to 350 million shillings, up from 14 million shillings. She also commended the president for creating an environment where persons with disabilities access the opportunities to do business with the government through the Access to Government Procurement Opportunities Policy. Safin Achieng Oma, Prime Edition.
With 14 days to go to the August 9th general election, Azimio la Umoja won. Kenya coalition flag bearer Raila Odinga says that if he is elected, his administration will constructively engage border operators on safety measures and the streamlining of the industry. Raila said that an Azimio government will explore ways of bridging existential gaps in the sector that have for years led to operational conflicts with law enforcement agencies. Raila, who met border operators in Nairobi, said that if his government will ensure that the National Police Service serves Kenyans without the use of force. Raila's running mate, Martha Karua, took Azimio's presidential campaigns to Kajiado County, vowing to fight graft. Here's that report.
Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party leader Raila Odinga engaged border operators in Nairobi on how they would like the sector improved should Azimio form government next month. The border operators demanded a conducive working environment, lamenting of harassment from law enforcement agencies.
Baba, pikipiki imepanda kwa sababu ya ushuru pale kwa port. Pikipiki tulikuwa tunanunua 110,000, saa hii ni 150. Baba, sisi tunakuomba kwa unyenyekevu, ukiingia zile taxes ambazo wameweka kwa pikipiki, tuondolee vile Kibaki alikuwa ameondoa. Si ndio?
Wewe ukiingia kwanza utoe executive order, bodaboda zote ambazo zimeshikwa kwa polisi ziwachiliwe siku hiyo, ndio hao vijana waweze kuendelea na kazi yao.
Zile bodaboda ambazo zimeshikwa tutawasiliana na Junet tuone IG of police kama zinaweza akiliwa before election.
Committing to address their grievances if he ascends to power, Raila asked border operators to mobilize and come out to vote in Azimio la Umoja government.
Tunajua pale tuko, tunajua shida na ile changamoto ambayo mko nayo kama boda, najua pale tunataka kwenda. Yanayobaki ni sasa vitendo, kutenda. Hii ni message nataka mtoke naye hapa, muende naye katika pembe zote za Kenya. Kama siku hiyo boda iko pamoja na Azimio. Semeni Azimio na boda.
Raila Odinga also engaged the Muslim Women Network in Kenya on how they can be included in governance should he be elected the next president.
Baba, we have very unique challenges that plague the Muslim community in Kenya, especially the women. They include violations of civil, political, and economic and social cultural rights.
We're saying that gender emancipation is not a feminine issue. It is a human rights issue.
While Raila campaigned in Nairobi, his running mate Martha Karua took their presidential campaigns to Kajiado County, where she vowed to fight graft.
Hatuwezi wafanyia kazi yoyote Hatuwezi kuwapatia huduma bila kulinda sawasawa rasilimali ya Kenya na kuitumia kwa mahitaji ya mwananchi na sio kuwekwa mifuko ya wachache wajigambe ni matajiri.
Reporting for Channel 1 News, my name is Opicho Chemtai.
Azimio Principal Right Honorable Raila Odinga there intensifying his campaigns right here in the capital city, Nairobi, Kenya. While in the North Rift, his competitor, Deputy President William Ruto, promised to revive the Big Four agenda if he's elected Kenya's next president. Ruto said that the Big Four agenda will help create jobs and wealth that will drive the local economy. Ruto made the remarks as he continued to consolidate his support in parts of the North Rift region. Achola Simon puts that story into perspective.
As the country enters into the home stretch of one of the most intriguing presidential campaigns, Deputy President William Ruto, the Kenya Kwanza presidential candidate, retreated in his political home turf of Kericho County as he seeks to consolidate his support base ahead of the general polls. It is here that he will lead his team in defending the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission against what they said was unwarranted attacks.
We are saying as Kenyans, we will have a peaceful election. Mimi nawauliza ndugu zangu, watu wa hapa Kericho na Wakenya wote, na wauliza tuwe na uchaguzi wa amani. Musikubali hawa watu watusukume ati kutokee mambo ya utata katika taifa letu.
When the victory is done and confirmed, we shall also, in the defense of democracy in this country, we shall also institute an inquiry to public officers, public servants who have been used to try and undermine democracy in this country.
Wewe hujui vile IBC inafanya kazi. Na wewe you have been displaying a lot of drama about arrests, possible prosecutions. Nothing comes out of it. Wachana na watu wa IBC, Bwana Kinoti.
The DP insisting that unless stopped, the attacks are likely to compromise the integrity of the August general poll results.
They should not bother IEBC. They should not waste time fighting Chebukati. We want the elections and we want free, fair and credible elections. We don't want interference of the state and the state project on these elections.
The leaders also calling on the locals to not only vote for UDA, but also come out in large numbers to ensure their candidate achieve the 50+1 constitutional requirement.
Na mimi naomba nyinyi, kile kitu imebaki hapa ni voter turnout. Vijana mlio na bodaboda, ukipata mama kwa barabara unapeleka yeye apige kura na kumrudisha nyumbani. Tunakubaliana? Hata wale kwa bahati mbaya watakuwa wamegonjeka, wako hospitalini, munafanya mpango na daktari, munawachukua hospitalini, wanapiga kura, munawarudisha.
Ruto is expected in Nandi County on Monday as he continues with his last-minute strategy of touch and go in his strongholds and perceived battlegrounds.
Campaigns and more campaigns, obviously, Azimio there, Kenya Kwanza, all the principals traversing the country, selling their manifestos and their agenda to Kenyans. And so we, at this point, would wish just to refresh our memories and look at some of the profiles of some of those candidates. And would like to start with the presidential candidate for Wahiga Mwaura there, of Agano Party, David Mwaura. In 1981, many years back, he graduated from the University of Nairobi, and the course that he studied, of course, was LLB, or law. And thereafter, he started Mwaura and Mwaura Advocates after practicing law for some time. And he has used 35 years of legal practice in arbitration, in mediation, and also as a commissioner of oaths, among the many roles that he has played inside those 35 years. And I think in 2006, that was when the political bug caught up with David Mboya, and he formed the Agano Party. In October of 25th day of October 2010, about 4 years after forming the Agano Party, he expressed interest in running for the presidency. That was 3 years shy. That was in the year 2013 when the general election was to be held. In 2011, he unsuccessfully vied for the Kamkunji parliamentary seat. If you can recall, it was a by-election that was occasioned after Simon Mbogwa's election was nullified. The High Court cited irregularities. You remember in the 2007 general election, it wasn't a good election. Many Kenyans can remember the violence that followed thereafter. But in 2013, he gave up his presidential ambition, contested for the Lamu gubernatorial election, just in case you forgot that. And he lost to Isa Timami. That was in 2013. In 2021, endorsed to contest the Nairobi gubernatorial election. This was occasioned by Mike Sonko's impeachment. However, no election was held. In 2022, and we are 14 days away from that ball, of course, he revived his ambition, and now he's running on the Agano Party, hoping to become the fifth. And we all recall that he picked Ruth Mutua as his running mate. Let's now look at the last time we looked at George Wajakoya and William Ruto. So let's look at now Raila Odinga, born on the 7th day of January 1945. He was born in Maseno in Kisumu district, the larger Nyanza province. In 1970, he graduated with a master's degree in mechanical engineering from Madeba University. In German, well, they refer to that as a diploma, which is an equivalent of a master's degree here in Kenya. In 1970, all the way to 1974, got a job at the University of Nairobi as a lecturer, taught there for 4 years. Left the University of Nairobi, went to the Kenya Bureau of Standards, where he also worked for 4 years as a deputy director, all the way to 1978. And I think this was the year that the founding father, we lost the founding father of the nation in August 1978. Later on in 1992, he joined elective politics after the introduction of multipartyism. We all remember the clamor for Section 2A. Raila was part of that team that was pushing and agitating for the repeal of Section 2A that ushered in multipartyism. In 2001, you remember President Daniel Mboya appointing him to the cabinet. So for 2 years, he served as in the energy docket as the minister. And that was between 2001 and 2002. 2003 all the way to 2005, we remember Raila Odinga taking charge at the Ministry for Roads, Public Works and Housing, right? And 3 years later, between 2008, we remember the 2008 to 2013, he became the Prime Minister of the Republic of Kenya. But just some background for those who may have forgotten. In 1982, he was jailed, actually, and the charge was, he was accused of purportedly planning the coup that happened in 1982 against President Moi. He was released from prison, and we also remember in 1990 he was incarcerated with Kenneth Patiba, Charles Rubia, again over the clamor for multi-party democracy. Feared for his life. In 1991, he fled to Norway, spent some time out there, and on his return back to the country, he joined Forum for Restoration of Democracy, FORD. He was elected FORD, Kenya's Deputy Director of Elections, later on elected Member of Parliament for Langata, re-elected again as Member of Parliament for Langata in 1997. The same year, he unsuccessfully vied for the presidency under the NDP ticket, if you can recall. in 2001, his party merged with KANU. And of course, he served as an energy minister together with the late Professor George Saitoti. And later on, they teamed up with Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka and resigned from the Rainbow Movement. The Rainbow Movement merged with the National Alliance Party of Kenya to form the National Alliance. And there's a long list there. There's a long list there that goes all the way to the 2013 general election. You remember what happened. A petition was filed at the Supreme Court. There were issues around the voter registration BVR kits, and it's good that, you know, we have a simulation exercise today. Some of the representatives from IEBC will speak to some of those things, how secure the system is as we head towards the 2022 general election. And in the interest of time, Raila Odinga's nicknames include Nyundo. Nyundo is, well, Swahili for hammer. Tinga, which means tractor. And then, of course, Agwambo, which means a man of riddles, right? And of course, latest we've been hearing Baba, you know, doing all the rounds. So that's an executive summary of Raila Odinga, who's running on the Azimio. He's an Azimio flag bearer. So we're going to take a short break right now. When we come back, we look at some more stories that includes the day's business and also sports a little later on. So stay with us.
My kids are always on their devices. Kila saa.
Mommy, look, I'm a cyber soldier.
Huyu, he's always on his social. But online ina mambo mengi. It's a new world of risks.
The Communications Authority of Kenya, CA, manages Kenya's cyberspace to keep you and your family safe online so you can learn, interact, and thrive online.
Na mimi, can I be a cyber soldier too?
The Communications Authority of Kenya, opening your world.
TCB Naturals, hair that lets you shine.
We will get money for Kenyans back.
David Mwaure Waihiga of the Agano Party.
Tuko tayari tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8.
William Samoei Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance.
Mungu tayari kutembea na sisi.
Raila Amolo Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party. And
we have wealth in our country.
Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya of the Roots Party. On the battle for State House, the presidential debate 2022, July 26th, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. on every screen, speaker, and earpiece in Kenya.
Kitwet FM Kigosi, Kitwet FM Kigosi, 98.0 Kitwet FM Kigosin.
Finally, the wait is over. The Sundowner Sunset date is back. Saturday, 30th July 2022. The Grand Collabo, the gorgeous Catherine Donye and the wicked weekend man John Obongo Jr. together on one stage for the first time.
Meanwhile, some country.
Plus, Sir Elvis performing your favorite country hits live. All roads lead to the park in Kitengela, the land of Nyama Choma, for music, dance, food, drink, and so much fun. The Sundowner Sunset Date, the Grand Collabo. Mark the date, Saturday, 30th July 2022. Tickets cost 500 shillings at the gate.
Welcome back. Remember our socials at KBC Channel 1, my Twitter handle at Mboya24, hashtag Prime Edition. Just a quick reminder, at the tail end of this live broadcast, we will be bringing you a live simulation exercise. IBC representatives are live in the studio, and we'll be looking at how the voting is going to take place on the actual day, the counting, and also transmission. So the sum total of all those three very, very important processes during that voting exercise, so you don't want to miss that. But let's just take you straight into the corridors of justice, where Chief Justice Martha Koome has transferred judges to different court stations following the appointment of 7 judges to the Court of Appeal. Some of the judges transferred include Justice Anthony Murima, Lady Justice Mugure Tande, Lady Justice Grace Nzioka, and Justice Kanye Kimondo. This and more from the corridors of justice.
A few days after 7 judges were appointed to the Court of Appeal, Chief Justice Martha Koome has moved with speed to fill up the gaps left by transferring a number of judges to different stations. Lady Justice Mugure Tande has been moved to the Constitutional and Human Rights Division from the Family Division effective August 1st, 2022. Lady Justice Grace Nzioka becomes the presiding judge in Naivasha effective from September the 15th, 2022. Justice Kanye Kimondo will move from Muranga to take up the position of presiding judge in the Criminal Division from September 15th, 2022. Justice Anthony Murima, who has been serving in the Constitutional and Human Rights Division, becomes the presiding judge of the High Court in Kitale starting from August 1st, 2022. Meanwhile, a 3-judge bench of the High Court, consisting of Justice Joe Dilo, Justice James Wakiaga, and Justice William Musyoka, has dismissed an application seeking to stay proceedings on the case challenging President Uhuru Kenyatta's refusal to appoint 6 judges recommended by the Judicial Service Commission.
Both the application for stay of these proceedings pending appeal and the petition hearing are dismissed. Each party will bear their own costs.
The 3-judge bench further dismissed a petition filed by Dr. Benjamin Magare Ikenyi seeking to have the 6 judges compensated for psychological damage.
But it did not adduce any evidence to prove the alleged damage or suffering, and therefore this court, without specific proof of what each has suffered, is unable to make any pronouncement on compensation.
And former Nairobi Governor Mike Mbovi Sonko's review case before the Supreme Court will be mentioned on Tuesday, July the 25th, 2022 for directions. The review is on a judgment delivered by the same Apex Court affirming the decisions of the lower court that Sonko was not eligible to vie for the Mombasa gubernatorial seat in the forthcoming August 9th general elections. Seraphine Nairobi for Prime Edition.
There's an health item now. AstraZeneca and the Ministry of Health have today announced a donation of innovation screening equipment to the Kenya Medical Research Institute, Kenyatta National Hospital, the University of Nairobi, and also the Aga Khan University Hospital. The equipment will enable recipient institutions to conduct research on the use of non-invasive technology to predict the risk of hypertension, diabetes, eye conditions, and also other medical conditions through retinal scanning. Here is that report.
The World Health Organization estimates that non-communicable diseases account for up to 70% of global deaths. In Kenya, non-communicable diseases account for 39% of deaths. Though the statistics date back to 2015, there are concerns that the numbers could be much higher. The government is partnering with development partners to manage the obtaining situation by collecting data through research.
Within every facility, health center, dispensary, the county hospitals and so on, there is so much data generated. We generate a lot from our system in AMPATH, and I think one of the challenges we have is that the use of that data is a problem.
We are living in unprecedented times, and we have seen through the pandemic how working together with non-traditional actors by working not in silos but together, how we can accelerate, perhaps cut through the 60 years, but make things happen quicker for the focus of our patients.
Traditionally, hypertension, commonly known as high blood pressure, is screened by using a blood pressure measuring device attached to a cuff wrapped around the upper left arm. Diabetes, on the other hand, is screened by taking a blood sample, which is invasive, more costly, and requires a longer turnaround time for results. People who dislike needles may also avoid the procedure. It is hoped that through the equipment, however, screening for hypertension and diabetes will be carried out by screening an individual's retina for both simultaneously.
Is they use artificial intelligence to predict whether a person has any of these NCDs by looking at the retina. The machines are going to institutions that are conducting this research, being KEMRI, one, Kenyatta National Hospital and the University of Nairobi together, and Aga Khan Hospital.
Health Chief Administrative Secretary Rashid Aman says Kenya is looking to invest more in the war against non-communicable diseases.
For a long time, it was not a problem for us. It has now emerged as a problem, which means we don't have those systems of collecting data that we used to collect, for example, for HIV or TB or malaria. Over the years, we have put in systems that collect very accurate data. Now, to use those systems, to now leverage on those systems so that we can collect more accurate data on NCDs.
The donation by AstraZeneca is expected to go a long way in updating data on war against non-communicable diseases, as well as provide more efficient ways of combating the disease. Zainab Said, Prime Edition.
Now, he was the co-founder of the youth lobby movement, Youth for KANU 92, that supported President Daniel Toroitich arap Moi's re-election bid in 1992 following the return of multipartyism after the repeal of Section 2 of the Constitution. In this week's edition of the Cabinet, we focus on Cyrus Shakalaga Hwa Jirongo, a two-time member of parliament for Lugari constituency and who served as Minister for Rural Development in President Moi's government.
Born in March 1961, Cyrus Jirongo attended Mangu High School between 1978 and 1981, and 10 years later became the chairman of Kenyan football club AFC Leopards. Jirongo was only 31 years of age when he teamed up with the likes of Sam Mboya, Fred Kiptanui, and current Deputy President William Ruto, among others, to start the Youth for KANU 92, commonly known as YK 92, the youth movement that supported President Daniel arap Moi's re-election bid in 1992, following the return of multipartyism. Despite the lobby group's influence in the re-election of President Daniel arap Moi in 1992, it arguably became politically overzealous. For instance, Jirongo called for the resignation of Professor George Saitoti, which coincided with a walkout from Parliament by opposition members of Parliament in protest against the then Vice President and Minister for Planning and National Development. Jirongo's goose was already cooked. Moi claimed the organization had joined the opposition to undermine his presidency, instead choosing to defend his Vice President, Professor George Saitoti. Jirongo's path to redemption through establishing a power base in Western Kenya would not last long, as he found himself on the wrong side of President Moi, eventually getting detained over possession of unlicensed guns after his houses were raided in search of firearms. Jirongo would become politically relevant once again in 1997 when he was elected Member of Parliament for Lugari constituency. 6 months into his post, he announced plans to run for the presidency in the 2002 general election. In November 2001, Moi announced a major cabinet reshuffle as he appeared to try to change the perception of KANU, bringing in youthful faces in place of the old guard. Jirongo, together with current President Uhuru Kenyatta, were among those who benefited from the changes. Jirongo was appointed Minister for Rural Development, formerly a department within the Ministry of Planning and National Development. After KANU's rule came to an end in the 2002 general election, Jirongo formed the Kenya Africa Democratic Development Union KADU, through which he reclaimed the Lugari parliamentary seat that he had lost in 2002. In his bid to become Kenya's fourth president, Jirongo unsuccessfully vied for the Kakamega senatorial seat in 2013, losing to the eventual winner, Dr. Boni Halwale. In the 2017 general election, Jirongo vied for the presidency under the United Democratic Party. He garnered approximately 11,000 votes, which was 0.07% of the total presidential votes. However, with a repeat election being held after President Uhuru Kenyatta's win was contested in the Supreme Court, Jirongo managed 37,791 votes.
We will get money for Kenyans back.
David Mwaure Waihiga of the Agano Party.
Tuko tayari tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8.
William Samoei Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance.
Mungu tayari kutembea na sisi.
Raila Amolo Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party. And
we have wealth in our country.
Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya of the Roots Party. On the battle for State House, the presidential debate 2022, July 26th, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. on every screen, speaker and earpiece in Kenya.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
A very good evening to you. Thank you for keeping it Prime Edition. Time now to get the business news. My name is Betty Kiptum. Animal feeds manufacturers want the government to extend the yellow maize import indefinitely as shortage of raw materials continues to bite. Association of Kenya Feed Manufacturers Secretary General Martin Kinoti says the logistics involved to import white maize and market uncertainties means the expensive animal feed in Kenya is unlikely to ease anytime soon.
34 animal feed millers have imported 40,000 tons of yellow maize from Ukraine that landed this week, with another shipment of a similar quantity expected in the next 2 weeks. However, the millers say the quantities are not enough, as Kenya needs 350,000 tons of yellow maize to fill the deficit.
They were lucky to find a bit of yellow maize in Ukraine, which came through Serbia and Romania, and it's here now. But otherwise, directly from Ukraine is difficult, directly from anywhere, non-GMO maize is very difficult to find.
They said this cannot be breached by the end of October, when the Import Gazette notice lapses.
There's a crop failure in the whole of Eastern Kenya, the whole of Central Kenya, the whole of Coast, and many parts of Rift Valley. Northeastern, we can't even talk about it because there was no crop in the first place. So the only crop that this country, in Narok, a little maize, but a fraction of what is usually there. So right now we can only hope to get maize in October, November from the Rift Valley.
The animal feed miller says scarcity for yellow maize in the international market is still persisting, a situation that has seen the landing cost of a bag of yellow maize remain at a high of 5,500 shillings.
There is nothing like cheap maize. There is no cheap maize in the region. You need to know that.
Deficit makes a very big case for the country and for our government to facilitate the start of cultivation of BT maize.
Kenya has been facing a shortage of animal feed due to drought that has affected fodder production. Benson Droba reporting for Prime Edition.
Now, titanium miner base resources saw its sales surge 44.7% to 10.8 billion shillings in the quarter ended June. The company says sales rose from 7.4 billion shillings in 2021, driven by a surge in the international prices of the ilmenite, rutile and zircon. The Australian-based mineral sands producer is the owner of Base Titanium, which owns the Kwale County-located titanium mines.
The company says mining operations continued on the South Dune ore body, with mined tonnage lower than planned due to an 8-day stoppage in operations caused by flash flooding last month. The heavy mineral grade of ore mined in the quarter was higher at 4.06% against 3.84% in the same period last year. The Kwale-based miner continues to benefit from a global supply disruption of mineral sands production, which lifted the price of titanium by 54.8% in the quarter ended March from a year earlier. Bumamani project during the quarter, extending Kwale operations mine life by 13 months to December 2024. The company says the Bumamani project will be mined concurrently with the Kwale South Dune deposit to maximize mining rates and better manage tailings. Procurement and construction commenced during the quarter, with mining on the North Dune scheduled for March 2023. The company says prospecting license applications lodged for the Kuranze region, about 70 kilometers west of Kwale operations, together with applications for an area south of Lamu, is yet to be approved. The state imposed a moratorium on the issuance of prospecting licenses in place since November 2019 and has affected the progress of all license applications.
And the government is looking to document and digitize indigenous knowledge from communities across the country. Officials from 13 counties have been trained in a partnership between the National Museums of Kenya and county governments to ensure that the information is preserved for future generations.
Training held at Kakamega is set to see that indigenous information is documented, referenced and digitized. National Museums of Kenya officials said the project is set to benefit generations through protection of traditional knowledge.
Vile tunavyoendelea kuishi hivi, ndio indigenous people wanaendelea wakipunguka. Na knowledge yao ambao wako nayo, wale wako saizi wako nayo, haitakuwa hiyo tena kwa vizazi vijavyo. Kwa hivyo tukitapu saa hii vile inasemekana, tuiweke kwa data, ili kuonyesha ya kwamba tutakuwa tunaiendeleza na haitapotea.
And that will also help us boost tourism. You know, the basis or the backbone of tourism is the culture, the traditional cultures, the traditional background and the heritage of our community.
In the same breath, Kakamega County has set aside funds to renovate Kayega Art Gallery with an aim of working with indigenous people and local communities who have the knowledge to help preserve the rich, diverse cultural heritage. Meanwhile, Airtel Kenya has purchased additional spectrum which will further aid its 4G expansion in the market for both mobile data and fixed home broadband services. The spectrum worth $40 million will give the capacity needed to allow for future 5G rollout. Airtel Africa posted its Airtel Kenya service quality score of 65.45% last year, up from 52% in 2020. The sharp improvement by Airtel Kenya was linked to several improvements to its network to meet the regulatory minimum threshold of the quality of services provided. The license is valid from July 2022 for a period of 15 years. Reporting for Prime Edition, I am Teresa Mutai.
And that's all we had for you on the business front. But of course, the news continues. Mboya is standing by to give you more news on the other side of the studio. From the business desk, do have yourself a good night. My name is Betty Kiptum. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Betty Kiptum, for that update. President Uhuru Kenyatta has called on Kenyans to endeavor to understand their history in order to change the negative narrative that has for years been promoted by the West. The head of state said institutions such as the national museums have a rich history of the country's good, bad, and ugly that can fill historical knowledge gaps. President Kenyatta made those remarks during a media day at the Uhuru Gardens, National Monument and Museums. Kamche Meza attended and filed the following report.
22 months since the commencement of construction works at the Uhuru Gardens, National Museums and Monument, the new look facility is almost complete, with the masterpiece set to be open to the public in November. Ahead of the grand opening, selected groups are visiting the facility for validation. On Monday, members of the media fraternity were given the first priority to tour the state-of-the-art facility. Chief guest President Uhuru Kenyatta lauding a restoration initiative for providing an avenue to document Kenya's history.
Like all countries do, once you know who you are, once you're proud of who you are, once you are able to acknowledge that no human being is perfect, then you will be able to celebrate the great things and talk about the bad things, but also, because that's how our country is, like a human being, that's how we move forward. But we can't always be telling our people, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad. Then where is inspiration? Where do you get kids then who want to become... That's how you create migrants. Because a child there is like, there's nothing I can do here. The best thing for me is everything outside is better than what I have at home.
The head of state stating the wealth of information in the facility will inform the media in conducting their business in a more professional way.
Help us build a place where through audio, video, culture, print, online, we can all tell a true story of our country and who we are, and be proud of who we are, and learn from our mistakes, and do better, and give hope and encouragement for future generations.
With the gardens housing the country's rich history, plans are also in place to repatriate Kenya's artifacts from abroad.
The first thing that we're doing is to ratify some legal instruments as a country that will allow us to be able to repatriate some of very, very important artifacts. For example, the man-eaters, the lions, the man-eaters of the Savo that are currently in Chicago Museum.
The museum has 33 galleries, all of which are expected to be ready by June 2025.
We intend to show this place not as an elite facility, but as a facility for every Kenyan to come experience, to come and feel, and to also interrogate and see if there's an item that speaks to their culture that has been left out here.
Some of the galleries include the Tunnel of Martyrs, Hall of People, Rope Gallery, Hall of Justice, and Children's Museums. Even though constructed in the 21st century and embracing ultra-modern displays and architecture, the museum has lived to its billing, documenting Kenya's rich history for eons and from different parts of the country. Kamche Menza for Prime Edition at Uhuru Gardens, Nairobi.
Well, we have noted a mix-up in the pictures of a story that was filed by Simon Achola, the story on Deputy President William Ruto promising to revive the Big Four agenda. That is, if he wins the presidential race. Ruto made those remarks and continues to consolidate his support in parts of the North Rift region, saying that the Big Four agenda will help to create jobs that will, in turn, drive the engine of the economy. Here now is the correct version.
Deputy President William Ruto has taken his latest campaigns to the counties of Nandi, Uasin Gishu, West Pokot and Elgeyo Marakwet.
Kwa sababu nyinyi mumetuunga mkono, tulikuja 2013, tukakuja 2017. Nyinyi mkatuunga mkono na kura zenu na mkatuombea. Mimi nataka nisimame hapa niseme asanteni sana.
Ruto maintained that the Big Four agenda had failed to meet the intended objective and that he will revive it if he becomes the president.
Kuna kazi ambayo ilikwama. Wakati tulitengeneza serikali ya awamu ya pili, tukapanga ya kwamba tuwe na mpango inaitwa Big Four. Lakini hiyo Big Four ilikwama wakati ukora ya handshake ililetwa na ile mpango ya ajira ya hawa vijana ya mambo ya housing na mambo ya manufacturing ikakwama. Ndio vijana leo tuko na vijana zaidi ya 500,000 hawana ajira katika taifa letu la Kenya.
Ruto told his supporters that Kenya Kwanza coalition had a clear agenda for the country.
Waambia kama Kenya Kwanza, sisi tunataka kuunganisha Kenya iwe moja, na tunataka Kenya ambayo haiwachi wa Kenya wengine nyuma, na ndio sababu tumesema kwa manifesto yetu ya Kenya Kwanza, agenda yetu nambari 1 ni kupunguza gharama ya maisha, na hakuna vile tutapunguza gharama ya maisha bila ya kumshughulikia mkulima.
Sisi watu wa Rift Valley hapa tunasema sisi ni wapenda amani, na kama wakulima tumeingia Kenya Kwanza tukijua ya kwamba bei ya fertilizer itapunguzwa na kwamba bei ya mazao yetu itaenda juu.
Ruto and his allies in the Kenya Kwanza eyed their bases to turn up in large numbers in August and carry the outfit to victory.
Poked into violence. We want a peaceful Kenya. We want peaceful elections. Na sisi hatutaki sarakasi mingi. We are not asking for any favor from IEBC or government or any other quarter. All we want is a fair, transparent elections conducted by an independent commission called IEBC.
The leaders chided their political opponents for backing out of the planned presidential debate, despite themselves having previously expressed reservations about the ability of the forum to bring out issues affecting the country without bias. Achala Simon, Prime Edition, and County.
Abantu ba Mintombo ya More.
Your favorite KBC station, Minto FM, is now at your doorstep. Enjoy the hottest KC music, informative and entertaining shows, and reliable news only on Minto FM. Tune in to Minto FM on 91.7 FM in Nyamira, Kisii and its environs.
Minto FM in Nyamira.
Oh, good evening. My name is Richard Munga with the latest in the world of sports. And in our top story tonight, Kenya finished 4th in the 2022 World Athletics Championship after clinching a silver and bronze medals on the final day of the global event, which came to a close this morning in Oregon, United States. The United States tops the medal standings after bagging 13 gold medals, followed by Ethiopia in the second spot with 4 gold medals. Jamaica settled for the third position after winning 2 gold medals.
Kenya's Jacob Crop clocked 13 minutes, 9.98 seconds to win the silver medal early today in the men's 5,000 meters race.
Round are losing theirs, then yours is the world and everything in it.
After finishing second behind Norway's Jacob Ingebrigtsen, the Norwegian clocked 13 minutes and 9.24 seconds, while Oscar Chelimo of Uganda finished third.
Kwanza imeni-encourage na imeni-encourage kuwa naweza kuleta gold. So naenda kufanya mazoezi zaidi ili kuja next year World Championship gold inawezekana.
In the women's 800 meters race, Kenya's Mary Mboya clocked a personal best time of 1 minute 56.71 seconds to finish third behind United States' Irving Moore and Kelly Hodgkinson of Great Britain.
World champion Hodgkinson less than a step behind, and Mary Mboya completes the podium for the bronze.
Naona tunasarudisha Kenya mahali ilikuwa na tujaribu kufunga hiyo gap. At least tutakuwa tunaonekana somewhere tukiwa na umoja, si ile yenye tunatengana, huyu anafanya hii, huyu anafanya hii.
The focus now shifts to the Commonwealth Games, which will start in Birmingham, United Kingdom this Thursday. Alongside the Commonwealth Games, the World Athletics Under-20 Championships will be hosted in Santiago de Cali in Colombia from 1st of August to the 6th of the same. The Games will be televised live on KBC Channel 1.
Congratulations to the Kenyan athletes who did the country proud, and once again they will have the chance to do that again come the 28th of this month, that is later this week, up until the 8th of August, that is in the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. And, well, as always, KBC will always have your back when it comes to all the live sports, so you should expect to be seeing that very soon. Now, to other matters, Sydney McLaughlin anchored the United States to win gold in the women's 4x400 meters relay at the World Athletics Championship, of course, which came to a close earlier today. The USA also won the men's 4x400 meters relay to top the medal standings of the nine-day global event.
Savour this.
Sydney McLaughlin guided the USA women to win the 4x400 relay in Oregon early today. McLaughlin, who produced an electrifying world record-breaking display to win the 400 meters hurdles on Friday, stormed home on the final day as the US quartet won in 3 minutes 17.79 seconds. Jamaica won silver in 3 minutes 20.74 seconds, while Britain took bronze. The USA victory assured Allyson Felix of a record 20th World Championship medal. Felix did not race in the final but took part in the heats on Saturday.
Finish for Sydney McLaughlin and the Americans, 3:17.7. The Jamaica take a richly deserved silver.
The United States also won the men's 4x4 meters relay. The US quartet of Elijah Godwin, individual 400 gold medalist Michael Norman, Bryce Dedmon and champion Allison clocked 2 minutes 56.17 for victory. Jamaica took silver, with Belgium claiming a bronze medal.
Men's programming style, a fabulous silver for Jamaica, and in his 7th final.
Now, let's talk matters football, whereby APS Bomet FC has earned a promotion to the Football Kenya Federation Premier League next season after being crowned the 2022 National Super League champions. The team drew 1-1 against Murang'a Seal in their last match of the season, which was played at the Bomet County Stadium. The team is now the third side from the South Rift region to qualify for the Premier League after Brookbond FC and Zuke Richo FC also earned their places in the top-tier league. Of course, don't go too far. Tomboy is on the other side of the studio waiting to bring you an informative interview in regards to the upcoming general election. That's it from me. I'm Richard Munga. Do have a good night.
Thank you very much indeed, Richard Munga, for that sporty update. You're very right. It's actually a wall-to-wall walkthrough of what we should be expecting on the day of election. We are delighted to have Amina Sood, manager on voter education from IEBC. She will be walking us through that entire process from voting, what happens next after voting, of course, the counting, and once all that is done, then the transmission. So we urge you to stay with us. Very shortly, we should be coming back with that all-important process. 14 days, remember, to the general elections. So don't go away.
We will get money for Kenyans back.
David Mwaure Waihiga of the Agano Party.
Tuko tayari tarehe 9 mwezi wa 8.
William Samoei Ruto of the Kenya Kwanza Alliance.
Mungu tayari kutembea na sisi.
Raila Amolo Odinga of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Party. And
we have wealth in our country.
Professor George Luchiri Wajakoya of the Roots Party. On the battle for State House, the Presidential Debate 2022, July 26th, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. on every screen, speaker and earpiece in Kenya.
Finally, the wait is over. The Sundowner Sunset date is back. Saturday, 30th July 2022. The Grand Collabo, the gorgeous Catherine Donye and the wicked weekend man John Obongo Jr. together on one stage for the first time.
Meanwhile, some country.
Plus, Sir Elvis performing your favorite country hits live. All roads lead to the park in Kitengela, the land of Nyama Choma, for music, dance, food, drink, and so much fun. The Sundowner Sunset Date, the Grand Collabo. Mark the date, Saturday, 30th July 2022. Tickets cost 500 shillings at the gate.
Well, as we had promised that we are delighted to have in this mock polling station representative from the IEBC, Amina Sood, a manager on voter education, and she has made time to come and be with us here so that she can walk us through. We have done this on 2 or 3 occasions, but it's always just good to make sure that we get all the fine detail, a refresher of sorts. So we have some time that has been allocated to us, and I'll try and maximize on that a short time that has been given to us. So, asante sana for finding time to come and be with us. So I would just like us to start by you walking us through this mock simulation. The last voter, ule wa mwisho kabisa, all right? And I think you had identified, is it Esther?
Yeah.
So I'd ask her to walk into the shot and then quickly just walk us through.
Okay.
All right? So that we cover so much ground within this short time that has been allocated. So there is Esther.
Yeah.
So over to you now.
Thank you very much. Esther has come in as the last voter, and what she's supposed to be done to, first of all, to check all the fingers if she has voted before, and that will be shown by the mark. Now we've realized that she's not voted, and then she gives her identity card, which is used during registration.
During registration?
During registration. You use the documents that you use during registration.
There are some people who even use documents like passport. Alafu passport in Arabica, it's defaced. What happens?
Not only is it defaced, but it can also reduce its value.
Okay.
So if it's invalid, then you have to come with the one that is invalid and the new one that you've made.
Okay.
So we check you with the invalid passport, but we have to see your valid passport going with it.
How do you do that? You have the database on the KIMS kit?
Yeah. Because with the KIMS kit, you cannot be shown by any other document except the one you used during registration.
For registration?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they will check the ID, and then first of all they look to make sure that it is her, and then they use her biometrics to check if she's in the data. And the KIMS kit is especially for this. It's unique to the polling station.
Okay.
So we'll check and make sure that she is in the polling station, and if she's not, the KIMS kit will announce, because it will make a sound to show that she's not from that polling station. And also it will make a sound if she's already voted.
So it has been set up in such a way that you cannot use it in a different
polling station. We have a special QR code for each polling station. And then from there, the clerk will give the ID to the to the owner, to Esther now, and then she'll be directed to go to the second clerk.
Before she goes to the second clerk, remember earlier on we had a story of a very sad one of an accident. In the event that someone has problems with the biodata, the fingers, probably an accident here or there, what happens in such situations?
In such situation, we'll use an alphanumeric. Her alphanumerics will be her ID number or her passport number that she used to register. So we'll put those numbers in the KIMS kit, and we will see her.
Okay.
Or even her biometrics will come out.
Okay.
Even her face will come out.
Okay.
And then from there, she'll be given her ID, and she'll go to the next. The next clerk will give her the 2 ballot papers. For now, because of this drama or skit, we've just kept 2 other clerks.
Okay.
But normally we'll have 3 clerks. So each clerk will give 2 ballot papers.
Okay.
We have 6 positions.
Yeah.
So each 2 clerks, 2 ballot papers, the total will be 6 ballot papers. So when she's given the 6 ballot papers, she will go around to the ballot booth. Yeah.
By the way, before she gets to the ballot, because I've noticed something that has been trending a lot on the social media about the stamp that is supposed to appear behind the ballot paper. Comment on that.
This is very important. We almost forgot it. The ballot paper has to be stamped. And this I want to remind all Kenyans. Make sure when you come to vote, make sure your ballot paper is stamped at the back. Because if it is not stamped, we will not count it.
So the voter also, in the clerk can forget. I'm just trying to be polite.
Yeah. You
But
have to think
voter,
all the ways. Yeah, the voter has to be aware of that. And we've always told them in our voter education sessions, when we talk to them, we always remind them that they have to be sure that their ballot paper is stamped. Because any ballot paper that is not stamped, we don't count it.
So we are reminding them that they have a civic responsibility of looking behind the ballot and ensuring that there has been a stamp. In the event that there is no stamp,
it will not be counted.
It will be
called a rejected vote.
We'll talk about that later.
It will be a rejected vote.
All right. Okay.
So we allow Esther to go and vote. She's checked faster. She goes and votes, and when she votes, she has to be sure she's voting for the person that she needs.
Okay.
If something happens to it and she doesn't get the person she wants, she's allowed to come back.
Oh,
yeah.
She can come back.
Yeah, she can come back and ask me.
Yeah.
What happened? Like now, she wants another ballot paper.
What has happened?
Yeah.
What has happened?
She's saying that she doesn't want the ballot paper because it's like she has already voted for the wrong person that she didn't want. So what we do, we give her, we take this and put it in a envelope that is called ballot paper, spoiled ballot papers. And before we do that, there's a spoiled ballot paper envelope. Before we put that, there's somewhere that we say why this thing was spoiled. And this is in the polling station diary. This is called the PSD.
Okay.
In the PSD, we will say why this paper was spoiled.
You're required.
Yeah, you are required to say.
Officer,
to explain the reasons
why
it was spoiled.
All right.
And then we'll give her another ballot paper. Give her another ballot paper. Faster.
How many times can you do this? How many
Twice
times?
only.
Okay.
You can do it only twice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So she's given another ballot paper. Vote. She'll go back and vote again. Faster. So when she's going to vote, we can explain the way that she's supposed to vote.
Okay.
She is supposed to vote only once. She has to make only once a mark that is, it can be a tick, it can be a cross. But that mark has to be only one and in the right box.
Yeah. At this stage, do you need the presence of the various political party agents?
No, because she's voting alone.
All right,
but if she needs support, maybe she's come with an assistant, she will go alone with the assistant. But if she doesn't have an assistant, but she still wants support from the presiding officer, let's say she's a blind person and she needs an assistant from us, the presiding officer, then when it is only her and the presiding officer, we will need somebody to come and support her. And this time it will be the agents to witness what is going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who else is given preferential treatment within the community? People who are blind, for example, people who don't know what happens, who arrive at the polling station,
and
they're
they
so
don't
intimidated, they don't even know where to start.
Yeah, and even if you're sober, but you just need assistance. Yeah, sometimes you're just scared to vote. There's some people who are very normal, they are very literate, but they're scared to vote. You can't be assisted by the PO. But if you cheat and say that I'm illiterate, we can know from your ID, because your ID you have signed. If you have signed, it means you know how to use a pen.
That's an indication.
Yeah, you know how to use a pen.
So that also applies to our elderly in society.
Yeah, the elderly and the most elderly people who are very knowledgeable and they don't want to be supported. But those who need support will always do that for them. Yeah.
Okay.
And then after she's marked her ballot paper, she'll come directly and vote. And this time she has to vote. The color of the ballot paper has to be the same as the color of the lead. So for this time it's the presidential, it has to be white, and the ballot paper is to be white. So she'll go straight away and vote.
Oh, so you've standardized?
Yeah.
As we're speaking, it is in record that white is for
presidential. Yeah.
We're not going to get any surprises.
No.
Okay, all right.
So for white is for the presidential. For this skit, we'll just do for the presidential because we want to show the next step. After she has voted, she's casted her vote, she will come to the last clerk, and the clerk will color her small finger.
Don't color it. She needs to vote.
No, that's why I'm not coloring now. Yeah, we'll just color it. And if she's assisted, if there's somebody who's come to assist her, then we will vote. We'll mark a piece on her. Yeah. That's why we do that, because we reduce the number of people who can come and assist others. There are people who are called professional assistants. We don't want those ones.
A bit similar to the professional mourners.
Yeah. And professional kids who are hired, so that you don't want to make a line. So you just take a kid, this one has a kid, and then you are allowed to go in and vote. So there are professional kids for that, for hire. We refuse that too. Yeah,
because this is a serious process. You want to ensure that, all right.
And then she's allowed to go because she's the last one. She's after she has voted and she has been marked, then she's allowed to go home. When she goes home...
How do you feel after voting?
I feel nice. I've voted for the candidate of my choice.
Wow.
Yeah, very happy.
Thank you for coming.
After she has voted, we are telling people that after they have voted, they can go home and relax, because all the media houses, like you said when you started your bulletin, that all the media houses will be there to take the coverage of everything that will be going on. So they don't have to cluster around the polling stations and making a lot of fujo,
So you want a very controlled environment. Let me ask you, given the number of candidates, the political party representation inside the polling station, how are you going to manage those crowds? Because there are so many candidates, isn't it?
Yeah, there are so many candidates.
For example, Azimio is a coalition. This is just an example, just the same way Kenya Kwanza is. And under Azimio, you have various parties.
Almost 26 of them.
We even have, in addition to that, independent candidates.
I know.
And all will want representation
to be
inside that. How do you manage that?
For that, we have agreed with the political parties. They can allow a few. They can agree. They can sit down and agree before they start the election. Because even them, they're human beings. They can see the room. They cannot be there, 100 of them. There are some, like a position of MCA. I know of an MCA position that has attracted 33 candidates. 33 candidates. Can you imagine 33 candidates of only MCA? And then there are other...
What's the significance of that number?
Because we will be sure that it was closed and it was affirmed by everyone. Because I can use another number, I can cut it and use another seal. So when I use another seal, I'll have to use another number. So if I did that, then people will know that I cut and then I had done something on the box.
Okay, but given the nature of curiosity of some people, in the, unlikely event that they tamper with this, what happens?
Normally, it is so hard. From when we started as IBC, it has become so hard to stuff a ballot box. Why? Because first of all, it is a transparent ballot box.
Yeah.
You can see. I can't do anything to it. And two, all the agents are there to see what I'm doing. So if I start doing those things, all the agents will see. So what we do, we call the agents. Yeah, we will call the agents to come and see that we have put this as the number. They will record the number as I do record it.
So this is one of the agents?
Yeah, this is one of the agents.
So she records, she documents that number.
Yeah. And
is this another agent?
Yeah, this is also another agent.
But there is no two-thirds gender here. There's no two-thirds.
No, it is not for me to decide which party
anyway,
chooses.
I just wanted you to laugh.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I also have to do the same. I will also have to record it in my PSD. PSD is this one. There's a place that I record all the seals that I've used.
Can we just, I don't know whether the cameraman can get a shot of this PSD, because this is an important...
Yeah, this is a polling station diary. It has records from the time that I entered the polling station, the time I have to record, the numbers, the telephone numbers of all my clerks, all the agents, and everyone. We have to, even the security person. The
so
two
it's a checklist. You have to tick all the boxes.
Everything, not only ticking, even writing their names, and they have to sign that they were there. So that if anything happens to after we've done with the polling station, they will come if there's a petition or something, then the names from here will be affirmed. These are the people that were in the polling station. Even the agents that started with us, they will be recorded here. And then if
is there a provision there where you have a space for even members from the fourth estate to...
the media, we have a place, because normally we didn't have, but we have revised it for records.
For purposes
of records, And if there's more that we want to say, there's a notebook. If there's more stories to put in, maybe the spaces that is small, we have a notebook.
So this is an important
book. Very important book. Very important book. After that, we've recorded this. Kindly come and support me.
So those are the three clerks?
Yeah, these are the three clerks. At that moment, we will have more than three. There will be four.
Yeah, there will be four.
So they will help us cut faster.
So before they cut, who is here now at this stage?
These will be the clerks.
The clerks? Who else is there?
It will be only the clerks,
only the
me,
clerks.
And the two presiding officers, and the askari, the security man. One will be inside and will close from inside, and the other one will be outside, just to cover.
So and no agent at this point?
Very important, the agents. The media, and the observers. They'll all be there. But what we do is we have to give up to make a barrier between them and us.
But they are observing this exercise?
Every step of it. Every step of it. But we keep a barrier not because of anything, for our own security as IBC staff. You've seen people being beaten by voters, by politicians, the presiding officers.
Sometimes they become very
they become very emotional.
So
before we do that, we have to take the booth, and this booth we use it as part of the covering of the table, so that we cover there's a slit between the two tables. We cover it with a booth. We cover it there so that before we open, we are sure that no ballot paper will slip down. We have covered it with the booth. So we use the booth to do that. Right?
Because every vote
counts. Thank you very much for that, Bwana Tom. And that's what we think of it. So we have to be sure that all the votes here will be counted. none of them will slip down, right?
Yeah.
After we do that, we've cut. We take the seals that were cut, and we put them in an envelope. Yeah, we put them in an envelope and we secure them.
Even the seals that have been cut?
Even the seals that were cut.
Why? The numbering.
The numbering. So that, you know, there's a place that I did that, and the POs were in a hurry, I guess, and they threw them all over. And the voters thought that even that they were doing something wrong. They were like, they wanted to rig or something. Of course, as you see, the cut seals will have no use. But just to keep records for everything, it is best to put them in an envelope and put them inside. So those are some of the things that will go back to the returning officer. Yeah. So after we do that, we assign our clerks. The agents will be now ready to listen to what we are going to say. First of all, before we assign our clerks, we tell them what is expected inside. What is expected inside, there will be ballot papers of different kinds. There will be the rejected votes, there will be the valid votes. The valid votes will be assigned to the people that they voted for. And the rejected votes are those, like those ones that we have, we will be having something like this, and we will be explaining to all the agents. If a vote is marked twice, that is rejected. If a vote is marked and then there's a signature of somebody, it will be a rejected vote. If the vote is voted like that, there's a big tick that we don't know
Cards
who
are across all the boxes.
Yeah, I know.
So hamujui ni nani ni huyu.
Yeah, there's another one that somebody writes his own name, Tom Mboya there. So we know it's Tom Mboya who voted, which is wrong. It's supposed to be a secret. Yeah. And then there's another one who will sit and draw himself there. There's a picture of himself. And others will cross everything and tick the one they want. So this is more than once. It has been.
It has happened.
It has happened.
All those are spoiled votes.
Not spoiled. They are rejected votes. A spoiled vote is the one that Esther did before entering into the box.
That makes sense.
That is a spoiled vote. But this one is called rejected vote.
What about the other one that wanders? What do you call it? Stray. It doesn't know where it's going.
Like that one now. It was a governor's, but it was well voted for, but it was in the wrong box. This is a presidential vote, but there's a governor's inside. So that is a stray vote, and it will not be counted. So we've agreed with our agents. Are you ready? Are you okay with what we have said? Yes. If they agree, then we know when they see something like that, there's no makasiriko. They know that is the story.
That is the story. But all those votes must be dropped
inside the box.
Do you ever have cases where it has not been dropped inside there? And how do you treat those ones?
Like, I didn't understand what.
I don't know. It's a very hypothetical situation. Somebody fails to drop it inside.
And where will it be?
I don't know, straight.
No, if it is not in any box, it is called spoiled vote. Because if we've just seen outside, we'll just put it as spoiled. And the reason will be it was dropped down, not in the box.
Rare, but I'm just asking.
It is good to think of all the scenarios Kenyans will do. So the best after that, we'll assign our clerks and we'll tell them if there are 3 candidates, we'll say candidate number 1, number 2, number 3. If there are more than one, we'll go 1, 2, 3, then we come back 4, 5, 6 until if it's 33, you know how many. Each will have 11. Kenyans kindly.
Workload.
So we will tell all the agents, all the agents kindly see what is going on. They are not supposed to be very near us because somebody can run away with one of our ballot papers. So the best thing is we'll be having
so some reasonable distance. Away from.
And then the first thing we check is if they are stamped. So we will read. My clerks will help me to look behind if they are all stamped.
From the cameraman, get this. I don't know. I'm just trying my luck. I don't know.
Luckily, they were all stamped. We'll check they are all stamped. We'll check all of them.
Stamp is very important.
Very important. So we see that they are all stamped and we'll say these are now all okay. If one of them was not stamped, we'll take the rejected vote envelope and put it there.
Then the counting begins.
I'd
like you to fast track it a little bit.
So when we count, we'll just show like this to the agents and everyone. This is for 1, like that. This is for 2. This is for, first before I show them, I read it myself. This is for 1, and then I do like this.
Okay.
And after that, let's say we have already given, we have counted
all of them. Yeah.
And then we see a few rejected.
Yeah.
We'll put them in the rejected ballot envelope.
Yeah.
And I'll keep it here in my rejected, yeah?
Very good.
And then I take each one's, and then I count 1, 2, 3, and if there are more than 50, first we'll go for 50 and do like this, and then we put a rubber band.
Okay, that's your standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have them in batches of 50.
Of 50.
So after that, what happens? Because I know you, earlier on, you talked to me about a certain, was it, there's a form you have to now enter.
Yeah.
All that data.
So this data goes to the most famous form called 34A. This is for the
34?
presidential 34A. The A series are for all the 6 positions, but each has a different number.
34A.
For the presidential is 34A.
Okay.
Yeah, and then for MNA is 35A, for MCA is 36A, like that. So if we go for presidential, it's 34A. After that, let's say I get for first candidate 52. I'll put 52 here.
Yeah.
Second, 61.
You put
Third, like that. And then after I finish, I add them all up.
Yeah.
When I add them all up, then I count the rejected ballots.
Yeah.
And then I also add.
You also document it there.
After we add all of them, we count even the spoiled, and we add.
You also document
We
it
document. After we do that, we counter check.
Yeah.
The total number of valid votes.
Yeah.
Plus the rejected, they are part of the ones that were issued.
You
and then we add with the spoiled, because we also did what? We issued them.
That's true.
And then the total has to be the total with the number issued by the number of ballots. And also we will count how many people came to vote. By that it will be rejected plus valid, isn't it? Because the spoiled was given and he voted. So that one added will count with the Kim's kid, how many came. If they reconcile, we are done. After we've done that, we put everything here, and then we call the agents. They will come.
They confirm.
They confirm.
Because all the data